Okay, I'm a little bit early here, about 5 minutes early, but let's see who I have here. Glad to see you, Matthew. And just let's see, I'll make sure we mute everybody. Now, the what I'm here to do now, of course, we're in this week 11, and this is a flex time, so we're not having class. However, what I will be doing this week is I'll be here during the class period, just kind of, if people have questions or something, I can try to answer that. Now, what I'm also going to do today is go over, just kind of briefly review where we are in the course, what's going on, etc. Of course, this is a week 11, and you have a set of projects that are due on week 14. Okay. The first is this using the check your understanding, and we'll talk about that here. And then the alternative to that, and then the SAS Visual Analytics project. And then if you want to do some extra credit, I have instructions for that. And then you have 3 assignments that are due the 8th from the Sharda text. Okay. Those are all 3 due on the 8th, which would be Thursday. And right. So you can get started on these projects. And what I do is I'm just here, and I kind of handle it like, like I've always done. I'm here, and then I'm over in Shawnee again, same story. Anyway, let's scroll on down then on the week 12, okay? You have the last 3 cases to upload, and we've gone over Lunch's database 16, 17, 18, and we stopped at that because that's where it stops. And I've covered these, and I've got files here that you can upload that are worked, or you should look at them. They will be most useful in the check your understanding part. Let's see what else we got. Then week 13 is Thanksgiving. Week 14 is another flex time week, and that's the 29th. And these are due, but the flex time is really to work on your finals. So my whole thought process for you is to do this: is to work on these assignments here, so that when you get down to week 14, okay, you've got these done, these projects, and you have the projects done, and then that gives you the opportunity to go ahead and get ready, go ahead and work on the final, and that's I get the instruction for part A of the final. And those are due at the start of the period, part A. And then there's instructions, and there's the place to upload it. It's due December 13th at 10:15 a.m. And no later than the start of the final exam period. Then a final exam part B, okay, here's a place to upload it. Final exam part C is from the Sharda text. It's due at the end of the final exam period, okay? And then you have final exam B, part D, which is also from the Sharda text. These are exams, they're quizzes. And part E and part F and part G. So I've got it set up that you'll have the 2 hours, and so you should do parts A and B at first. That's why I gave you the flex. I'm giving everybody the flex time. And also, if I were all of you, if you follow the coaching I'm trying to give everybody, is this: get that stuff done, so when you come down to all of these quizzes, you can work on them as well. Okay, they're due at the end of the final exam period. Now, I want to make sure that everybody understands I have some screencast instructions for part A and part B, okay, as well as the written instructions. Here's the final exam schedule, and this is from OBU. And Matthew is here and who joined us. Hi, Chris. I'm going through just what I'll be doing next week. Any of these times that we have a flex time week, I'll be here to try to answer questions or help out if I possibly can, to the extent possible. But I'll be here available like as if I was doing a virtual office hours. Now, we have to follow along the schedule that we're given, and we are a 12:30 to a 1:45 Tuesday, Thursday class. And so there we be. So our final exam period is on Thursday the 13th from 10 a.m. to 12:15. And I've given you guys these extra, these flex time weeks to take care of everything. So if you've got a really rough course and you have a big final coming up, you've got this stuff done, and you can move, and you can use the slack time to focus on maybe a more difficult course you're working with or something of that nature. So that's pretty much it in terms of what I would have to present. Now, I probably will, just as a matter of pro forma, probably go through this same spiel on Thursday, and I'll be I'll be there and be available for people if they have a question or something, and I can try to explain. Now, since I'm recording this, if you, those of you who are here, if you have a question, and glad to see you, Josh, if you have a question, this would be a good time to ask, and I'm happy to try to do that. Anybody have a question? Okay, it looks like you don't. If you want now, and you can stay or leave as long as you've logged in. You're good during these periods. And I'm going to go back, right? And I'm going to start to talk about where we are, what we've got going for this flex week, flex time. I'm going to start with the check your instructions, check your understanding instructions. Okay. Now, I think I have a video for it. Here's the deal. If you take a look at your textbook, the Patrick text, you're going to see in each of them you're going to see in each of them a check your understanding exercise. And what they will do is they'll say, okay, here's something we want you to accomplish, run this query, make this table, whatever, okay? And you do it. Now, I give you some pointers there. Yep. You're going to have to upload an access file in Canvas prior to the due date. So you're going to have that. And then you can create a fresh database and import any necessary objects, okay? And then upload the database to Canvas and an NMS Word document. Here's why. The Microsoft Word document, I want you to do a print screen, okay, documenting your work, and preferably a results set, but I would also like to see maybe the GUI, okay, or the code. So that's, I'll run that through. Here's the chapter, and this is the page it's on, and they do get more difficult as you go along. However, they will typically have an example or something similar right next to the check your understanding, okay? It's usually going to be some of the stuff before, and that's why it's called a check your understanding, as the authors are wanting you to stop and say, do I get this? Can I apply this? Do I get this? Can I write or generate some code that it would let me do this? Okay. And don't forget now, if you are working on a query, you really have two options. You can write the SQL. Okay. And if you do that, I would suggest that you work on a notepad or so you can see what's going on. or you can go into the graphic user interface and use the criteria and the sorts and all of those tools that are there in order to do the query or to handle whatever that check your understanding asks you to do. So that you've got that one there. Now, if I'm not mistaken, let me take a gander here. Let's see. I thought I had a screencast for you guys on that, but I don't. Now, here's an alternative, and I've mentioned this before, okay? An alternative would be for you to install Oracle using the Quick Start, and the Oracle Quick Start exercise is over in Appendix A, and it's page 751. It says Oracle's free, how to get your copy. Now, if you do this, you won't be able to use the OBU machine. You can use your machine, proceed at your own risk, and then after you've installed it and played with it, you can get rid of it, okay? Now, why am I doing this? Well, there are going to be some of you, maybe one or two, who knows, who will say, I'm really more interested in learning a little bit more about Oracle because you've said so many times I'm going to run into employers who use it, okay? So here's the assignment, okay? And then I will want to see documentation that you've done this in the form of a print screen, so I can see, that you indeed did follow the steps and imported Oracle and looked around it, and the Appendix A, which starts there at page 751, will walk you through that whole process. Now, is it beneficial if you own your own machine to do this? I think so. We've already covered the check your understanding will just kind of reinforce what we've learned. There's a couple of, I think, 2 or 3 maybe really challenging requests there, but if you want to have in your hip pocket that you've also worked with Oracle and see how it looks and feels and all that, I'd say download Oracle, and it's going to have to be on your machine. And then when you're through, you can just simply get rid of it. But play around with it and do some screenshots as I've asked you to do, and then you're good to go. But I have added this in here because we've had advisory councils and alumni talk to the dean and saying, we need to have some greater coverage. And of course, they'll usually mention about a dozen of these products. And so I've focused on the ones that are the kind of the top of the line. So that brings me to this next piece. I'll go back over here, okay? And I have the SAS Visual Analytics. Now, this is not an alternative or optional thing. And I have provided you a series of print screens with my notes on what to do, okay? And basically, I'm gonna ask you to just follow those steps. Now, I've got about I have 8 pages where I walk you through, what to do, and you'll find it over there at SAS Visual Analytics. Now, why am I doing this? Again, this is one of these things so that we've got you ready, okay, to work with an employer who is going to say, gee, you've worked with SAS, you've worked with Access, you've worked with Oracle. That will probably put you heads and shoulders over anybody else who's an applicant. They all know spreadsheeting. And the other is, because these tools are so important now to companies, we just really can't neglect to present it to you. it'd be about the same of not providing you what you need, and not taking you through using Excel, and that is a spreadsheet program. And then, of course, those last, I have those tasks for you to do. So I have a detailed set of instructions for you to follow to do SAS visual analytics. By the time you go through this, you do it, okay? And you've provided me with the input and all that. What you're going to find is that SAS is a very nice product, which is why it sells a lot. A lot of people use it. And in many ways, it's kind of a mix of Access and Excel, and you'll see that as you work with it. And again, that's SAS Visual Analytics is one of the top products out there, which is why I chose it, and Oracle as well, so you can get a sense of how these things work and what they do. Now, so you've got some projects, not terribly formidable, but take some time. And so that's why I'm giving you guys the flex time. Let me see here. All right, there are those. Okay, I have some extra credit instructions for you. This is from last fall. These are some more check your understandings, but they're a little more challenging, okay? They're a little bit more challenging. Now, while I'm on the topic, let me address this direct. Let me address usually what is, let me address the issue of people working together and all of that, okay? On these projects, I'm okay if there are two of you who work together and you see it through, okay? I don't have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with is somebody or two people figure it out and they share with everybody. I can tell, I've been doing this long enough to tell that somebody gave everybody in the class the solution or whatever. Now, because it's a final exam and I'm giving it to you weeks in advance, I'm a little persnickety. So if you want to work, you get a couple of people work with you, or two of you work together, I'm fine. But whatever you do, you share it only with yourselves and nobody else. Now, why do I do that? Well, because out at work, you're probably going to have one or two people who will assist you with these types of things, or will give you some, or you'll run into a snag and you'll go across the hall and say, hey, I've got a problem over here. Okay. So I'm not all hepped up that you sit in a room and do this all by yourself. But I do want you to get some understanding from it. So I'll be looking for, your output. Now, even if you work with another person, you both will need to upload your work, okay? So I think that's a pretty good set of projects that reinforce what we've done. And you'll notice I mentioned here about documenting your work. Let me say something, because I always run into this. When I say a print screen, you all know what that is. You hit Control and you hit Print Screen. And that, of course, it's a screen capture. It captures that whatever's on your screen. You have also heard me use the term screenshot. And it's been a while back, but I had a young lady who took that to mean that she should do the work on her computer, then take a picture of it. And it was just a lot of extra work on her time. Let's put it like that. And I don't know how she ever maneuvered and jockeyed the photos, the JPEGs all around, to get them down to a size that I could open the file. Okay, so I'm talking about doing the print screen, where you do Control and Print Screen, and you capture everything on your screen. Okay. See if there's anything else we got. Oh, we've had a few more of us come in, and those of you who came in late, I'm explaining how I'm handling the flex time week. Okay. And the assignments coming up, so you'll want to double back on the video once I have it loaded, and double back and find out so you can hear the whole lecture. Now, so Ashley, Chris, Josh, Matthew came in. We got Sarah. Okay, good. Now, let's go on over. So this week there's no class. There's flex time. Okay, and I give you the instructions. There are these three exercises that I want you to work on. Those will be due on the 8th. Okay, which would be Thursday. Then we come to week 12, which is going to be next week. It's going to be the same story, Tuesday and Thursday. I'll send you an invitation to the screencast, and really I'll just be here to try to answer some questions if I possibly can. And if you beam into me and you say, show me how to do so and so, I'm probably going to be, I probably will not do that. If you stop by my office, that's one thing, or shoot me an email. And as I said earlier, I don't care if a couple of you get together and work with each other. I don't care. But what I do care about is, some small group of people figures out what to do and distributes it to everybody. And if that should happen and I detect it, you're playing with fire. So I'm being pretty reasonable in this and telling you, okay, here's what you need to do, etc. But this is not, for you just a wholesale go out and tell everybody how to do it. I want, if you and another person, maybe two other people, you should work as a team, and you're under no obligation to help anybody else. So now you'll notice that this week's lunches database 16, 17, and 18 are due, and we've worked through these. We've already done them, and you'll see I've given you these files to take a look at. And then the week 13 is Thanksgiving, any class. And then week 14, these assignments, these projects are due. Okay, they're due, and because they're due and you should have uploaded them, then you're in a position to focus on your final exam. The final exam, finals week, and these are due. This part A is due at the start of the final exam period. You'll notice if you've had some classes with me that what I do is I give you a project as part of your final, which is due at the start. And then I have usually quizzes that make up that last 2 hours. And that's the same story here. And I've got the instructions for you on what I want you to do. And then part B. Okay. Now part C, D, E, F, G, and H. Those are all quizzes from the business intelligence text. And I believe I've given you enough time on each of them to have the full 2 hours to get them done. I just don't think I have very limited number of items, and those are the chapters. Now, I think I'd also mentioned, I talked with you some about the home developed queries. So, for extra credits, so you should be good to go there. Let me stop here for a moment and let me see. Does anybody have any questions I could try to answer for you? Anybody? Okay, that being said, I'm going to stay on here, okay, in the event that somebody does have a question, and you're under no obligation to stay here. Now, let me say this to those of you who are here. If you are, I'm going to have virtual office hours today, and they're going to start at 3 o'clock, and I'll go all the way to 8 o'clock tonight. So if you're an advisee, this would be a good time. And Friday, I'm not sure about Friday, what's going on with that. My Fridays are really variable for a simple reason. If it's not a faculty meeting of some kind, it's a university meeting of some kind. If it's not that, it's a committee meeting of some type, or it's somebody I'm working with out there, or I need to stop and say, okay, I've got to get current on my own continuing education. I'm taking a taking a class right now on fintech, okay? And so I have to try to juggle my time like all of you. And I take courses, and I've been doing this for a long, long time, so I can stay current in what's going on out there in industry. And so I'm comfortable using these tools. So if you have questions you want to get to work on this stuff, you're welcome to. I'm going to shut up because it's 12:52, which gives you about another hour or so to work on them. And again, I think the instructions are very clear, and of course, if you follow the program of getting that work done early, then you're ready for the final. And in fact, I even have a screencast of instructions for final part A and final part B. So that being said, I'm going to be here, and I'll leave this up, but I'll probably be on my other machine doing some work. And so if you have something, maybe I can, hopefully I can get a chime or something like this, and I'll take a look. Is there anybody for sure who has a question? Okay, now, one final thing. On Thursday, I'll be back over at Shawnee, and I'll be at my office. So if you want to stop by the office, you can. That's your choice. Okay, folks. Well, I'm just gonna let this stay here for a while, and then I'll stop the recording. And if you have a question and I've had to step away, like I would if I was doing office hours, it will blink and it will show up, and that chat function will be there, and I'll try to get to as fast as I can. And if I'm not able to, then it's simple. Write me an email, okay, and I'll try to answer your question then. Okay, so I'm just going to be here, kind of monitoring it, and away you go. And I'm going to be looking forward to seeing your work. I think you're going to enjoy some of these projects, and they're going to be very helpful to you, because when you leave OBU, you're going to be able to say, I've worked with Access, I've worked with SQL or SQL, I've worked with Oracle, or I know what it looks like. I've worked some with it. I've worked with SAS, Visual Analytics. So you don't really. You have no, you really have no, you're just not going to have anybody out there that's going to have the tools for decision making that you guys have. Okay, well, I'm going to let it sit here, and I'm going to get some work done on my other machine. And if you have a question, if I don't respond, just sit there for a minute or two, and otherwise, I'll be over Thursday. Hi, Rhett. That's a good question. Don't worry about it. There's no problem with the sound. When I'm in kind of office mode like I am now, I go ahead and put the mute button on. Um, so you're good. And once we hit 145, I'll just roll this thing up and broadcast it. Like I go ahead and process it and then handle it just like I would like a regular broadcast, like a regular screencast. I'm just here while everybody's starting to get work on their projects and so forth, so that if anybody has a question. So no, the sound's fine, no problem and whatsoever. I just happen to have it on mute. Now, did you have anything you wanted to ask me about? And can you hear me now? Okay, good, good. Any particular question I could try to answer for you? Okay. Yeah, you can catch it. The part that you missed, don't worry about that. Once I post this today, you'll be able to see it. So you'll be in good shape. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. It's 1:42, and I will be back over on Thursday for Ground-Based Thursday. And again, I'll be here if you have questions or anything of that sort. So I'll be online in this mode, in kind of a chat room mode here at Moodle, at Canvas, at our Canvas room, but I'll also be in my office, okay? So I look forward to seeing everybody. So I'm going to stop the share and stop the recording.